Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Good morning, Japan, and good afternoon in America. Sorry I'm a bit late this morning. I kind of woke up feeling pretty stupid. But here I am. I've made it. Alrighty, let me see what's going on with this. Alright. Good to see everybody this morning. How you doing? Today we are going to be drawing. We're drawing today. It's going to be fun. Today's drink of choice is a small milk tea. I find that whenever I drink those big things of milk tea, I drink a lot of it. I'm a big drinker. And yeah, today I just have a small milk tea that I have left over from the other night. When I was thinking, hey, I shouldn't have caffeine right now. I should have it in the morning. And now it's the morning. So, hey, how's it going? So today we're going to be drawing from my Copyleft manga called Viable. You can learn more about Viable by going to the description of this video. And this is this video. As you can see, this is live. Right? Same video. So if you go down to the description, click on viablemanga.com, you can learn more about it. Copyright. And this is what copyleft means. Basically, this is a free work. So you can copy, distribute, and modify it under the terms of the free art license. And the free art license basically says, so long as your derivatives are copyleft as well, then you can do whatever you want with it. So you can make money. You can, not make money. You can sell it. Yeah. So basically, you're allowed to make money off of my stuff, so long as you let others make money out of your stuff that's based on my stuff. And you can just literally copy and paste it onto Facebook if you want. Pretty easy. Just make sure to credit me, right? Include this copyright information. And yeah, if you want to know more, I have a long Q&A right here. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, very cool. I'll close that. Today we're going to be sketching out some concept art for the characters of my Copyleft manga Viable. Let's look at the art. So we're going to be redesigning Jim. Because his name's not Jim anymore. His name is Vassa. We're going to redesign Vassa. I might redo this pose entirely. I don't know. He looks a little skinny. I wanted to make him look better. So we're going to be doing that. This is my original concept of him. Yeah, looks decent, but even still, I wanna redesign him. I wanna make him bulkier, more. I wanna make him more Soviet Russian, as it were. Yes. Well, yes, welcome everybody who's here. Come say hi in the chat. Yeah. So here's some of the concept art. You can find it again in this description. Just click that right here. And yes, you can do whatever you want with this art. I'll be uploading whatever I draw, if I like it, into this. Here's the first chapter of Viable, if you just want to go read through it. It includes the character descriptions. It includes a synopsis, which we changed drastically when we went page by page. So far we've read and edited the first chapter, the name, which is the rough draft of the manga, Then if I start working on it page by page, then oh, no data. I don't know what's going on there. But my streaming is alright. Error, YouTube is not responding. That's not fun. I wish my internet wasn't garbage. Okay, cool. But anyway, if we can get the rough draft finished. I'm sorry, if we can get the character designs finished, we can start drawing the rough draft for the manga. So that is the goal. Sneeze. Okay. So my stream is apparently not that great live stream wise, so I'm sorry if the quality drops. My internet is just garbage right now, so hopefully it doesn't affect it too much. Alright. Okay, now it says it's excellent. Interesting. Yes. But anyway, come say hi in the chat. Hang out with me while I draw for a couple hours before I go to work. Could be fun. It'll be great. I'm running about 15-ish minutes late. Now it's like 6:20. So let's just jump into it. Okay? The drawing software that I'm using is called Krita. I'm gonna change the music too. I decided to do this fun music. The extended Bomb on Battlefield theme. Pretty fun, but it is also, yeah, it is also a little too peppy. So let's see what kind of music that we should play today. Usually Nintendo music tends to be pretty good with copyright, which is strange because Nintendo games, like if you mod them or something and you put them on YouTube, are not so good with music. Pretty interesting. Is there any Nintendo spy games? I don't think so. Because this is based on a spy. Ultimate spy music. Yeah, I don't know if there's a spy game from Nintendo. Yeah. Yeah, they should change that. They should make an IP with spies in it, because I like spies. Alright, let's see. Nintendo Smash Bros. Music, yeah? Let's do Zelda. I like Zelda. Yeah. Yeah, see? That's Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, it doesn't really have to be based on... I mean... Ooh, hold on. Maybe they have Metal Gear Solid. That's kind of spy-ish, yeah? All Metal Gear Solid songs. 11 tracks. Okay. Yeah. We are going to be spies. Alright. So, last time, this is what I drew. A very bulky man. I don't really like it. I wanna draw it again. I wanna draw something again. So, let's make a new file. new file. Let me drink some more. Let me make sure my pen works. Yep, awesome. Yoink. Alright. Those of you wondering my setup, I have a Huon tablet. And the reason why I have it is because it's huge. It's a very big tablet. It's a Huon, very big tablet. And yeah, I like Huon tablets. My Huon tablet, I think, is like 22 inches in diameter. So yeah, I'm gonna be drawing. Say hi in the chat. Give some suggestions. Let me interact with the chat a bit. Yeah, let me add a poll for those, or a question for those of you who hop on in. What's a poll question I can ask? Let's see. In the chat. Rihanna says, hey, what's up? What's up, Rihanna? Good to see you. Thanks for hopping in. I'm going to think of a poll question. What would be a poll question? Because I was doing things like, what should Vasa look like? Should he have a cleft chin? Should he, blah, blah, blah. Also, sorry if my internet's stinky right now. It might cause the stream to be a little low quality. But anyway, I'm gonna go with cleft chins. Yeah, should Vasa have a cleft chin? It doesn't really matter, but let's start that poll. That is a fun poll. News. Alright, so next, we'll get back to drawing. But yes, I'm just now starting. I'm gonna redraw Vasa. I felt like what I drew last time wasn't so good, but you know what? I might as well show it. Might as well show what I had. Let's see. File? Recent? Okay, so this is the sketch that I had. That was pretty good, actually. It's not that bad. Wasn't my favorite. But he is a bit more buff than he was. He's a bit more stern than the other concept art that I have, which is over here. Here's my original concept. Yeah, this is a skinnier guy. I want him to bulk up a bit, and so that's kind of what I did with this one here. Y'all can hear me all right, yeah? So, I don't know. Compare. With this one. Blurry. Yeah, man. There we go. So compare that to that. Yes. Rihanna says he definitely looks more intimidating and cool now. I agree. Alright, I'm gonna keep drawing. Actually, before I keep drawing, I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna make this to a new file. Control C, Control New. Not the right one. File New. Create from clipboard. Create. Okay, there we go. Add a background so it's not just transparent, it's a bit white. Scale that up. There we go. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save this under concept art. I'm gonna call this Vassa concept. Let's try Vassa sketch. This is a Vassa sketch. No, this is a concept. What did I call this one? I call this one Vassa concept. So I'm going to call this Vassa. How many concepts of Vassa do I have? Vassa concept, Vassa cover, pose, gym cover. Yeah, so I guess Vassa concept 2. So I'm going to name this Vassa concept 2.png. I'm going to upload it to the server. PNG. Save. Alright. And now we're going to go over here. We're going to throw. Let me find the file. There. Wrong one. Desktop. Viable manga. Concept art. Vassa concept 2. Yoink. Alright. That is not taking. There it goes. Alright. So now you guys have it. It now belongs to you, to the ether. Well, third time's a charm. Yep, I agree. So I'm going to draw again. This is just the head. I kind of want a body pose instead of just the head pose. So, yes. Alright. Looks pretty good. I kind of want to just redo Vassa. So, that's what I'm doing. Boop. Boop. Alright, drawing time. Let me add a layer. That is something I always have to make sure I do. If I do not add a layer, I will just draw in the background, and then when I erase, it'll be like, oh, I erased the background too, and now it's transparent. Oopsies. So pro tip, always add a layer to make things a little more convenient for you, so you don't draw on a white background. So your drawing is more drilly. So yes, so now I have my paint layer. I'm going to call this sketch layer. S-K-E-T-C-H. Okay. Today I'm feeling a little artsy. Let's see. I'm drawing with white. Black. Okay. So first, let's draw a really rough sketch. Make this more like 20 pixels. Yeah. So, maybe even bigger. Let's do like 40. Really, I want it really rough. Very rough. Yeah, there we go. That's a rough sketch. Big and thick. Okay. So we're gonna first draw his head. Just box it in. Next, we're going to. Let me think. What would be a good? Let me find the reference. Here, find a good reference of a large man's body that could fit this. Concept art. Oh yeah, I forgot I used AI last time. Should I do that again? I think I should do that again. Yeah. Bing. Okay. Concept. Full body concept art of a large man. Create. AI. AI is fun. There's a lot of debate regarding it. I like AI. If you want to use my art as a part of AI generation, I'm okay with it. That looks... Don't know why they gave him devil horns, but sure. Okay, that's neat. Do we want Vassa to be ripped? Just make a devil horned Vassa. And he has a tiny sword. Yeah, that's interesting. Not exactly what I was looking for. A large man in the city. A large blonde spy. A large blonde spy with a large blonde man who is a spy in the Wire comic, I think. And let's do a propaganda poster, yeah? Sure. Soviet-Russian propaganda. I spell propaganda. Propaganda. Yeah. Let's see what that throws out there. That might be more specific. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny. This one, that one is a pose. That is a very large man, and he has the cleft chin. He has the cleft chin. Do we want the cleft chin? Very interesting. A bit bulky. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess it works. That's funny. His head's chopped off. What's up with these gloves? I mean, maybe he can have gloves. I like this suit. It's a little tight on him. I'm gonna make him a little less bulky than this. Yeah. Okay. Let's use this as a reference. This is so silly. Open image, new tab. Boop. Huge. All right. Good. We are going to be taking this, and we are going to have it right over here. As I draw the full body. But I actually need a pose. I need a pose. You can tell that this one is AI because of the eyes. But that's funny. That's hilarious. I like that. Okay. Let's do like a full body concept art rotation. I think that's what they call it, rotation. Huge. Full body concept art rotation of a large blonde man who's a spy in a Soviet-Russian propaganda poster. These are funny though. I like these. I mean, this guy's just stepping out of the poster. That's kind of cool. He was a Russian man. I like the suits underneath of the coats. That's pretty good too. But he has one too. Alright, let's create one more time. That was funny. Huge. Okay, that's more what I'm looking for right here. This is actually more the body proportions I'm looking for too. I think they're taking Superman and they're putting him in like that. Oh boy. I don't need him to be that ripped. But this is more of the pose that I'm looking for. Something with a pose. So I'm gonna go with that. That's pretty good. Though, I don't know what is going on with his chin there. Yeah, you're so silly. So silly. Okay. They have big hands when they draw these guys. What's up with all these, like, guys in the background? Like, he has a pistol, they have, like, Tommy guns, and what? They're just running. What do they call it when it's, like, a full-body concept art? Yeah, this is more what I'm looking for. Like concept art, you know? Like, drawn. Make sure safe search is on. Filter explicit rule. Okay. Well, that's not even one. What do they call this? What do they call, like, when they have the pose and then they show, like, other parts of it? Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Something that just, like, shows it. I guess that's just concept art, isn't it? Maybe I'll just say, like, character design R. Character design concept art. Full body character design concept art rotation. I'm gonna keep this one out. Full body character design concept art of a large blind man who is a spy. Create. Last one. Okay. Before I actually start drawing. There we go. Yeah, I just gotta include the words character design. I like this silhouette. This one is much... Yeah, this is more what I'm looking for. Okay. He looks like Commissioner Gordon. Why is he bald? And why is he taller in one? What? That's silly. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. This one's good. This one's really good. Yeah, this is basically what I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that. And this one's just a drawing. Look how bulky he is. Big man here, yeah? This one's pose is good, but what's with the shirt? Why is he so hairy? What? Ooh, I like that. That looks like a cool uniform. But I do not know what's going on with this outfit. Kind of silly. But good pose, good pose. Okay. I'm gonna go with this pose. I'm gonna open that in a new tab. I'm gonna open this in a new tab because I like how it has the full body rotation. And yeah. Alrighty. Let's just go from here. We're gonna start... close that. Alright, so we got this. We got this, which I like. This one's pose is probably the best. That one's a good pose though. I might draw that one. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's go back to drawing. There's always something slightly off. That is the truth about about AI art. AI art, there is always something just a smidgen, just a slight bizarreness off about it, you know? Alright, also I'm gonna have this as a reference as well. Okay, cool. I'm gonna reference this one for... I like the red and green. Outfit wise. I don't know why his tie here is just slightly chopped off. but it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this pose. I don't know why he has so many pockets in this one. Just silly. Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the pose. I'm gonna start with this one. Yeah. I'm just gonna sketch it in. Give me my head. Give me my boxy head. Yeah. And then we have the neck. And I'm gonna make him I'm gonna make this like slightly upwards. And then his neck. Maybe a little more upward. Neck. Neck. What's a neck? For those wondering about the music, we are listening to Metal Gear Solid music while I'm drawing a Soviet Russian spy, which is pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. But this is also Smash Bros. Music, and when it comes to Smash Bros. Music, it is a pretty safe bet to use that in streams. Pro tip. But if you do not, because for some reason Nintendo tends to be pretty good about, you know, generally Nintendo's bad about copyright, right? They always take down videos and stuff. Take down videos and fan projects and a bunch of other things. I just ran out of tea, sad. But when it comes to their music, you know, they could care less for some reason. It's like, streaming wise, I never see like copyright claims on music. That could change. Nintendo music for some reason. Yeah. So when it comes to drawing, I'm going to talk about drawing while I draw. It's important to use confident lines. Confident lines are very important. Just be confident in your lines, and it creates very strong silhouettes. If you do, like, some people, they sketch like this. Sketch. I see a lot of my children do that. And it's very apparent because they do it like this, to where you can see like the gaps between the sketches. And it makes them look kind of, I mean, there is a place for that, right? But typically, most people would argue it's better to have not so sketchy, not so sketchy looking lines. See, even these lines here that I did, I drew them like this and then I went over them, rather than doing like this. I like this thing better than this thing, you know? So it's important to start confidently drawing your lines if you want to learn art, I would say. He's got his chest out. He is bulking. He is ribcage. See, this I'm not a big fan of. This. I should instead. See, even I, because I have bad habits, I do not. I'm not the best at my own words that I'm even saying. There we go. That's confident. Okay, so there's his ribs. Ribs. Make it go down into his abdomen. Bulk him up. Bulky bulka. Bulky boss. Yes. I'm getting more like Powerpuff Girl vibes right now, or Dexter's Lab, which is great. Because they're like masters. The people who did like the old cartoons, they're very masterful at making shapes into characters. Like if you look at Johnny Bravo, for example, he's just, his whole body is just a triangle, and they took a very strong silhouette and they just roll with it with him. He's just so smart. So on top of his back, there we go. That's a good one. And then we're gonna put his hip. And then, so you want it sort of similar, but if you want it more realistic, of course, you kind of smooth out those silhouettes a bit. There's difference in style, like art style and different things, if you want it to be like very specific. But for me, I'm just going for these thicker. Why is there words? Were there always words in Metal Gear Solid music? Hold on. What's going on? Calling to the Night. I never heard this one. Huh. I'm gonna loop. Go back. Anyway. I thought it was like the Titanic playing for a second there. And a hit. Also, knowing anatomy is very important, of course, when learning how to draw. Figure drawing is very important when learning how to draw. And the basics of figure drawing . Basics of figure drawing is finding something and finding something. Drawing from life is very important. Seeing things in 3 dimensions rather than in 2 dimensions is very important. That is a mistake I see a lot. People see cartoons and they're like, oh wow, that's really cool style, but it's very flat, right? But really they're not flat. They're not thinking in squares and circles. They're thinking, I mean, I guess unless you're like Fairly Odd Parents or something, but typically they're thinking in 3 dimensions. They're thinking in rectangles, not rectangles, I'm sorry. They're thinking in cubes and rectangular prisms rather than, you know, rather than, what's it called? Rather than squares and rectangles. They're also thinking in spheres and in you know, 3D objects rather than in two-dimensional sort of. And that is a very important thing to realize as well. If you're wanting to do more, like if you think your art looks flat, you got to think in 3 dimensions. And pretty much every artist does this, whether they're a Disney artist or they're an anime artist, right? Lots of people learn from reference. Other people learn from other people. I typically, most of my art, from what I learned, was from real people. I went to coffee shops and I drew people. In my sketchbooks, that looks like a horse. That's funny. Let's make that a bit bigger. I went to coffee shops, I draw people. Of course, I don't show that, but, you know, in my sketchbooks. I haven't really drawn people, though, since leaving America, and I kind of want to get back into doing that. So, make this fit. That's good. Yes. So, always having drawing by reference, very important. Drawing in three-dimensional shapes, very important. Learning to draw quickly if you want to be an animator or a comic maker, also very important. All very, very important things. Also, just practice, practice, practice. That's probably one of the biggest ones. Learn anatomy. You don't need to necessarily know all of the names of every body part, but, you know, for example, knowing what's going on, what is the collarbone, for example. Those are things that people can identify. What are the rib cage? What is this? What is that? You know, you gotta recognize that, because how are you supposed to know the general forms of something if you don't observe them, right? And, you know, for me specifically, that becomes difficult when it comes to drawing women, because women have very beautiful bodies that, as a Christian, it makes it tempting to see things in a objectifying light. You know, as a Christian, I don't think that's a good thing. So I try not to, you know, I try not to see women in a sexual way like that. And yet I draw nearly naked bodies of people. It's like, how do you handle that, right? You know, typically I try to think, okay, I want to draw this as soon as possible, so that way I can have more clothes on her, you know, with women. And that can be, but it can still be difficult with their round, nice bodies. So it's like, okay, cool. This is difficult to not think of it in that sort of light. How do I cope with that, right? And some people, some artists, they're just like, well, you just don't, just enjoy it. And I'm like, okay, well, if it goes against your values, how do you enjoy it, right? how do you continue to draw? And it's just like, if you're a doctor and you're trying to help a woman, how do you see her body without it being naked? You just think of it as a sack of flesh. That's all. You know, you think of it as an object. You kind of have to objectify it, but not in a sexual way, right? In order to not bring in that sort of feelings to your drawings. And you kind of know whenever people sexually see things whenever they're drawing. I mean, I guess you don't necessarily if they draw clothes on top, but certain things are made to be sexual, and that's because the people who are drawing it want it to look sexual, and that's, you know, I don't personally support that. I am a anti-lewd, anti-pornography sort of guy. So please, as I say, actually, let me show you. As I say in my website, if I can find my mouse. Mouse, where'd you go? There you go. As I say in my website, if you go over here, go to the description, viablemanga.com, Boop. Viable. If you go to my website and you see my copyright, and you scroll all the way to the bottom of my Q&A, one of the questions is there anything that I'm not allowed to make? And I say, you're allowed to make anything so long as it's legal in the country that you're from. Be sure to give credit and make your derivative work copyleft. And here's something. Personally, though, I hate pornography. While I can't stop you from doing so, please understand that if you make lewd or pornographic derivatives of my work, I think you're disgusting. So just keep that in mind when you're making stuff of Viable. Especially if you do something with Lucy, that'll make me just hate what you make. But also understand that I'm not responsible for any derivative that is illegal, and I'm not responsible for any derivative that I haven't made, right? So that includes like child pornography, depiction of religious figures, graffiti, etc. And I am only personally responsible for what I have personally published. So be careful what you make in regards to my stuff. Please do not make pornographic things out of my stuff. That is my personal request to any artists out there. I would say the best way to do it is just, one, draw people who are wearing clothes, and kind of see them as sacks of flesh, because that's really what they are in the grand scheme of things. People are, generally they have bodies that exist and are wonderfully made, beautifully and wonderfully made, and it is important to acknowledge that that's a reality. You can't just hide from reality. That being said, you don't have to draw people sexually, right? You can draw them with clothes on. You can draw them with pure thoughts. Similarly to learning anatomy as a scientist, or as a doctor, or as like pretty much anything that requires the human body. You don't have to view it sexually when you draw it. So, for example, I didn't draw the entirety of his crotch there. I don't have to do that. I'm not thinking in that way, right? I was just thinking, okay, this is the bottom of his torso, basically. So it goes all the way to his crotch. Am I drawing his crotch in full detail? No, that is not. That would be silly. Why would I do that? That is not something that I'm into, right? It's the same with drawing women's breasts. Do I draw their nipples? No. Why would I do that? There is no purpose to that. It's like, okay, cool, good to know. I'm gonna shrink this a bit. There we go. Now rotate it a bit. Also, don't be afraid if you're a digital artist. Don't be afraid to use, especially in sketches. Don't be afraid to use like rotation and stuff. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I need it to be pure. I need to be perfectly pure with my art, and I need to not use any technological advantage. Don't do that. Just do what's best for you. If you don't like using, some people are like, oh, you don't cut out the page and you don't manually rotate it that way, but like people have been finding shortcuts to doing things for years, so don't worry about how pure it is. At the end of it, people are not going to see your sketch. They're not going to see how rough you drew it or whatever. Let me make sure it looks fine, mirrored. Oh, what am I doing? There's the M button. M for mirrored. Okay, yeah, that looks alright. Yeah. This is a bit. Wrong button. This one. Okay. So here, I think, for example, anatomically speaking, the chest is weird, because the back is just kind of going with the chest. So if I were to actually redraw this line, it's this line that's weird. The chest itself is not weird. The line, because the line is off. So redraw that. The guideline, because the chest is more like the abs. And then I'm gonna probably draw the back a bit further. There we go. Talking while I'm drawing. Yes, so sketching is fun. I like sketching. I do like drawing a lot. That is just my personal enjoyment of drawing. I do recommend Drawing from Life again. I do not think of what else should I talk about? Let's see. Yeah, so when I was younger, drawing concept art in this sort of way was kind of a struggle for me because of, drawing people. And I didn't want to see people sexually like that. Until I'm married, I want to marry the only person I want to see sexually in that way. What is the hardest thing for me to draw? The hardest thing for me to draw? Ooh, that is a tough question. Well, I feel like I could draw pretty much anything. For a lot of people, it's hands. The hardest body part for me to draw. I guess it depends. Like, if you mean like technically speaking, as in like what's the hardest thing for you to draw when it comes to on a technical level? It would probably be hands. Yeah. But that never really bothered me. I never really was shy about drawing hands. Probably the size of hands, because these things, not a lot of people realize this. Like, if you have your hand, you put it to your face, it fills your whole face, yeah. And so you actually need to draw hands a lot bigger than you think. And that's true. But hands, just like any other body part, is just the shape. Morally speaking, I would say it's women's breasts. Those are hard to draw. Just because it's like, attractive. And as a good Christian boy, that makes it difficult for me. Maybe, like, technically speaking, probably hands. Maybe feet. I don't draw feet that often. So that's another thing. I've never drawn feet before, really. Like full-on toes, right? I would assume that would be a little harder. I don't often draw feet. I'm not a foot drawer, I'm being honest. I'm not one of those. So maybe I should draw more feet. I don't know. Should I make that a poll question? Should Josh draw more feet? Yeah, I do tend to avoid drawing hands. I've come to realize sometimes, because they are pretty difficult to draw. If we're talking like, but I draw it often enough to where I'm more comfortable with it than, like, for example, I'm not very good at drawing guns, right? So, or something technical like cars. I'm not the best at that. I would have to like do intense research and see if I can get it right, see if I can depict it okay. That would probably be more difficult for me than drawing hands. But human body part wise, like things we consistently draw, yeah, I would say hands are probably some of the most complex. Believe it or not, working out actually helped me understand anatomy more. Because when you work out, you work out specific body parts. Whenever I was working out, whenever I was playing tennis, trying to get a better serve, a stronger serve, I learned more about anatomy because of that. I learned that there's, on an arm, for example, there's the bicep, which everyone knows. And then there's also the tricep. This is the tricep. The tricep is this part, right? If you're strong on the tricep, it goes out. It's three-dimensional. I'm kind of weak because I haven't worked out in a while. I'm kind of chubby, but it's behind the elbow, right? So you kind of should draw like that. And then of course there's this meaty part of the arm. That is fun to draw. And then you have the bone that goes down as well. But this elbow looks weird. I'm gonna make this more elbowy. More. That looks weird still. Uh-oh, I made it gray, not black. Oops. But yes. So whenever I was working out for tennis, I specifically had 3 days, three groups, muscle groups, that I wanted to work out. And that was back and biceps, so you would work out your back and then also your biceps. The next day would be chest and triceps, which would be those parts of the body. And then, of course, leg day. That would be the 3rd day. Never skip out on leg day. That's kind of a general rule. Confident lines. Let's go. Interestingly, when it comes to hands, many people find it difficult, but not only people, but AI finds it very difficult to draw hands as well. Who knew, huh? It just goes to show how complex. But also, did you know that the hands are one of the most sensitive parts of the body? Not a lot of people realize this. They're like, what? The hands are? And I'm like, yeah. When it comes to like sensitivity and feeling of touch, the hands are one of the most sensitive parts of the body. And so therefore they're one of the most important parts of the body when it comes to, you know, not only survival, but yeah. Are you going to draw a character's design for all the characters before starting the story? Yeah, I think I'm going to redesign Hana and Lucy. There's not much I need to do for Lucy. She's already adorbs. I mean, just look at that little girl down there. She's so cute. But I do think I wanted to redesign Vassa for sure. I wanted him to be bulkier. I wanted him to look more like this. And so, yeah, I wanted to give him a better design, and I'm liking this a lot more. I think this drawing is much better than my other drawings of him so far. So, hands are hard though, yeah. How big do I want the hand? So, fist compared to face, right? It's like the apple. The man apple, you know the apple with the hat and he has an apple in front of his face. It's about that same size. I think that the hands on the reference over here, like down there, I think those are a little too big for his actual face. So I'm gonna make him a bit smaller. People do tend to draw hands a bit intentionally, not a bit too big, but intentionally too big. Because again, hands are very important. They're not only important for feeling, but also expression. We use our hands to express ourselves all the time. And if you were to have just body sketches like this, and you were to arrange the hands only, you can have a huge range of emotions. Just ginormous. No one tucks in their thumb. What am I doing? I need they put it over the hand. So I'm gonna draw the hand first. Alright, I keep saying the hand, the fingers. Put it over the fingers. And I'm just gonna but really the hand is just a three-dimensional shape too, yeah. And so when you draw something, just think of it in a 3D shape. Even if it's just a fist, it's a three-dimensional shape. And from there you can just sort of make it. Draw around the hand. Anyway, I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to detail it in later. That's one thing I tend to also make mistakes on. I tend to get too detailed. Alright. You can tell that's a fist. Next, let's do the other arm. Yeah, I gotta remember, this is just a sketch. There's no need to get too detailed. And that's why it takes so long for me to draw as well. Pretty important. Yeah, I think I'll learn a lot about drawing from watching what you do. Thank you. I do think that if I talk while I draw, it will be better for people who want to learn about drawing. Because I'm just kind of saying things in my head. I do tend to get quiet sometimes when I get too focused. And you'll notice this whenever I play video games with Caleb, for example. Whenever I'm focused trying to beat him in a game, or whenever it's like, oh, Josh is getting serious now, you know, or I get quiet because I'm losing. Caleb always points that out. He's like, ah, Josh is getting quiet, and it's because I'm getting focused. I'm trying to win. And whenever I'm focused, or you know, I get quiet. Also when I'm angry. when I'm mad, I also get pretty quiet. That being said, I don't know. My natural state is not to talk a lot. And so learning to talk to a computer screen in an entertaining sort of way, I think it'll help me if I want to do this streaming thing full time, which it is a lot of fun. So I would like that. I think that would be a fun job. But yeah, like I said, use every tool to your advantage when it comes to art. It would have taken me much longer to redraw that arm than it did to rotate it. So don't worry about doing that. Yeah, so different perspectives, different three-dimensional drawings. Kind of what's important when it comes to fists. To think of them in 3 dimensions. Whoa. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And this one is more like this. They're just boxes. That's really all they are. And then here would actually yes, cool. I got the sketch of the body pretty much done. Looks pretty good. I think that fits Vassa. What do you guys think? This is definitely more the vibe I was going for. Spy music. You know, like the... Thinking 3D. Yeah. Anyway, that's looking good. I like that pose. Woo! Alright. Yeah, that's fine too, lol. Yeah. Yes, and thanks for hopping in today. We Okay. That works. Save this. I'm gonna call this Vassa Concept 3, I think, because the other ones was 2. Yeah. 3. Alright, now that I have finished sketching the sketch, I'm going to grow him, make him big, fill the whole page. There we go. And now, yeah, we're gonna go from there. I'm gonna make the opacity down maybe like 20-ish percent. We're gonna go into detail. Yeah, I think whenever I'm done with this concept, next time we're gonna start on Hana. Yeah, maybe Lucy. Lucy wouldn't take too long, I don't think. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, a needle pulling thread. All right. See if I get a good. I can still get a good thickish line here. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Let's get. Let's make sure it looks all right, mirrored. That's another thing. You can tell if something is wonky or not based on how it looks when it's mirrored. And that looks all right. Both ways. I do think this arm, now that I look at it, is a little long, or this one's a little short. So I'll extend this one a bit. Let's see. Let me stand up to see where my arms land. They land, so here's my belly button. They land right on my side if I flap them. Yeah, so about where this longer hand is. Okay. Extension. Yeah, looks alright. Okay. Cool. Making Vassa dance when you flip it. Alright, let's draw Vassa now. Okay, so the question is, how do I want this to be? Do I want it to be sketchy? Do I want it to be more like how do I want my style to be, my art style? Well, let's look at another thing that I did, which is the Mayfali drawing from the game Get Her Love. So Get Her Love is a Nintendo 64 game where basically the goal of the game is to get a girlfriend within 2 weeks before your other players do. And this is one of the girls that you can woo in the game, Mayfali. She's a Chinese, she works at a Chinese restaurant, she's a Chinese girl. And what did I do? What did I do with that? Like the art. Looks like I used a rougher sort of pen. Yeah. Okay. So there's that. Question number 2. I'm going to add a new poll. We have 67% yes on the cleft chin. Very interesting. Some of you are pro cleft. The others are not. Let's see. Do I have 3 votes? Yes. Very interesting. Okay. So what I'm going to do... Woohoo! Oh, wrong one. This one. I'm going to... Let's see. I'm going to make a new poll. And the new poll is, should I color in... Should I make this colored? Should I make this concept art colored? I think maybe yes, because all my other concept art has been pretty colored, like Lucy and everything, but that was also for the cover of the manga. Manga is typically black and white, as many of you know, and so majority of the time you'll be seeing Vassa in black and white. That being said, I could do both. I could have, like, for example, I could do both. Let me win up Mayfa again. Just ignore the bald head. What I could do, for example, like Vassa's eyes are blue, right? I can create a... filter mask. Oh, what was it called? Colorized mask. I can add a colorized mask where, if I make it... Is this how it works? No, it's not. It's not what I'm looking for. There is a way. Oh yeah, sorry. I am a city boy. Yes. So basically, there is a way to color it after I have... I think it's this way. So I just put this here. Put it here. Okay. There is a way to color it if I can figure it out. There was a way to do it. I did it. Hold on. There is a way to do it. I did it in the cover art of Viable. Here we go. Yeah. So let's just hide the cover. Let's just look at Lucy. Yeah. And what I did, I had a mask layer. That's what I had. So if I get rid of the mask layer, you can see it turns black and white. Yeah. So you see her line art is black and white right now, and then I colored it using a mask layer. Right. So there's a way I can do that with this. If I add, I think it was a colorized mask, but I'm not sure. And let me see. Ah, okay, so let's just get rid of the color. So I have the mask layer, and then I have the line art, and I think that's just the normal layer. Yeah. Yeah, that looks wild. But yeah, so basically what I did was is that just a group? I think that is just a group. Okay. Yeah. There we go. And then let's add a colorize mask. And I think if I do it this way, okay. Why is it in black and white? Oh, the filter layer is in black and white, that's why. Okay. Yeah. No? Hold up, figuring it out. Oh, I see. I do think that the filter layer is only in black and white though. So I would need to convert that into a... What is going on? There was a way to do it. There was a way to do it, basically to where the mask would color... I would draw on the mask and it would color on top, right? So I can make just the line art a certain color like that, right? So it's possible. It's possible to do. So I could do like a combination of that. I would just need to refigure it out because I've completely forgotten how to do that. How did I do that? It looks like the mask was on top. Yeah, so I added a colorize mask, I assume. Add colorize mask. That was on top. With the filter layer. And also this was like this was this. Yeah? No? What is the mask layer was like that. Okay, but this was not like that. Layer had that. So I guess it's a different mask. Yeah, it might not be a colorized mask. Is it just the mask? Is it a transparency mask? No? Krita, why? Why you be so silly? I called it mask layer, but what kind of layer is it? Their properties. There we go. I named it mask layer in a color space. Got all that. And it is is that just the normal thing? Okay, just a normal layer. Add maybe a filter mask? Okay. Man, I don't remember. I don't remember. Maybe it was just a mask. I don't... Urgh. Okay, I'm just gonna add a paint layer. I'm gonna do this. See if that works. It doesn't. Okay. I don't know. I gotta look up YouTube tutorials on Krita again. Anyway, I can do that eventually. Let me not save that. Yes. And I'm gonna not save that. Anyway, I'm gonna get started on drawing Vassa. I'm gonna use this sketchy pen. It's going to be in black. Okay. So first, there we go. Yeah. I like to look at that. Okay. So my whole thing when it comes to drawing, my whole thing when it comes to drawing is that I like to ink and erase. So even if it's like I like the sketchiness, and then I like to fine tune it, which is not the most efficient way of drawing, typically. Usually when people ink, they don't do what I do. And again, what I do is I basically draw it, and then I erase afterwards. I take an eraser and I'm like, bye bye. Now perfect line, you know. Like that's not the most efficient way of drawing. But it's how I do it. It's slow. I don't recommend it. I probably should figure out a different way to do it. But that is what I do. So let's see. It's been an hour and a half. I currently have about an hour left. Okay, so let's try to get Vassa finished, yeah. Start with the head. Ugh, starting is always the hardest part. It's a perfect circle. First you draw the head, then you erase it. Okay. Again, I'm getting Titanic vibes from this song. It's just fun. Alright, so I mirrored it. I'm going to draw a line down. I kind of want him, instead of looking slightly sideways, I kind of want him to look... Should he look straight into the camera? A slight 3/4 perspective is fine, I guess. Okay. So think of it in 3 dimensions. Okay. Don't be afraid to draw slowly. Pro tip, if you want to keep the consistency of the drawing while you are doing it, instead of using the eraser tool, you can just push E to have the same sort of brush, but as a transparent brush instead. So you see up here, it's blue. That's the eraser tool. So I'm erasing with a transparent brush, so that way the line stays the same. That being said, it does make it a little difficult when you do that, because typically the eraser brush tends to be bigger than the eraser brush tends to be bigger than the inking brush. Okay. So I'm gonna see, like if I erase like this, you can see that it like blends out, right? But I have a big brush. I have a big eraser, which is nice. But if I want to keep the lines consistent, I use this smaller brush to finish off the erasing. In case you're wondering. Okay. Yeah, that's working. That's working. So we got our sphere. Remember, it's a sphere, not a 3-dimensional object. Not a 2-dimensional object. We're thinking in 3D shapes. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this would be let's adjust this to where instead of it being, we're gonna put a mask on top of it, because that's really all the face is. Your jaw is like a mask that's on top of your skull, right? It's just like it's placed right there, like right on top. And then the rest of your skull is kind of a sphere, right? So it's like a mask on a sphere. So I'm going to draw the mask on top of the sphere. And of course the mask is not perfectly flat. It's a little curved. So we're drawing the curved mask, well, the guideline for the curved mask on top of the sphere. Okay? And we're just going to erase this. Let's see. Going good. Aha. Okay, so now I can imagine the mask on top of the sphere. I got rid of the sphere guideline so that way it doesn't confuse me when I draw the head. Yeah? So now it's going outside of where the sphere is. Next, the eyes, because this is looking up, this is a mask that's looking up. I know I call it a mask, but really it's just your face. Like, there is a slight difference between the two. But the main one is that your jaw moves when you speak. That's one thing anime does that I think is not so good, is that with anime, they just move the mouth, but your jaw goes up and down whenever you speak. Right? Sometimes they even have the head move up instead of a jaw, and you would get whiplash if you did that. So just consistently. And yeah, so the way that now I'm commenting on animation, which I'm not even doing right now, but there's a lot of interesting things when it comes to animation. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw, instead of doing the ears, I'm gonna do gotta make sure it looks alright. So actually, the mask is going to be a bit flatter. Yeah, the chin's probably going to end up right there. Cool beans. Make that a bit more curved. 3D. Okay. Also, when you're looking up, the bottom of your chin is flat. You have your chin, which is a sphere, kind of like an oval sphere, I don't know what to call that. But then they have the flatness underneath it, yeah? So if you're just slightly looking up, you won't see it too much, but it'll be like a slight flatness down there. So if I draw the chin, I'm going to start with like an oval, a three-dimensional oval. And even if it's cleft, it just it goes out like that, you know? So I'm going to make it slightly cleft, because half of you said that it should be cleft. More than half, actually. Slightly more. So I'm going to make it slightly cleft. Not enough to where it's too noticeable, but still, I keep doing the eraser. This is part of the actual drawing, so I should do it. Yoink. Alright. So now we got the chin. And because he's looking slightly upwards, maybe I should make this a little bigger. See, this is because this is different. So a lot of people think, oh, I can just make it bigger with scaling, right? So I can transform it, make it bigger, boom, bada boom, I'm done. Good, right? Yes, technically that's fine, but that being said, in this case, if you're doing like final drawing, it's actually better to not do that because I know I was saying before, but I was speaking specifically on sketches. With this, it's not a vector drawing, it's a raster drawing. And so these tiny little, minute little things are going to be lower quality if you scale it up rather than redraw them. And so in this case, it's actually better to redraw it rather than to scale it up. So add more work to your workload. Lol. Yeah. So for those who don't know, a raster, keep doing that. A raster is basically, the difference between a raster and a vector is that with a raster, it is pixels on a page. And so the pixels themselves are specific, and there's only a certain amount of pixels that there are. And so when you zoom in really close, you can see each pixel, right? That means also, though, if you scale it, you can see each pixel. Image exactly what you're doing, knowing exactly how big you want the page and everything before you draw it. Yeah. Let's add a little more clef. That's there. That being said, a vector image is different. Vector images use mathematical formulas in order to create the line. And so instead of it being something that you can easily edit, they're much more set in stone, but you can scale them to different degrees. That's why I use a vector software when creating animation. So that way I can scale it for bigger scale, at a bigger scale. The main issue with that, though, is it doesn't have the same amount of texture and detail as raster images do. And so right now we're using Krita, which is a raster image program. I mean a little too 3/4 perspective-y. Oh well. We're using Krita, which is a raster-based program rather than a vector one. And so the issue with that is if we try to zoom in, or if we try to scale it upwards, the line becomes blurrier because it has to use guesswork, basically. It has to make approximations in order to fill in the gaps that the pixels would otherwise do. And so it creates something called anti-aliasing onto your image if you scale it, or it just doesn't. If it's like pixel, it just makes the pixels larger. I think they do. I think Krita uses anti-aliasing specifically. So I forgot while I was drawing this, he's looking upward. So if he's looking upward, it's not going to be, the chin is not going to be like as downward as that. If you look up, it's still going to go down, but then the jawline goes underneath your chin, right? I'm going to make it slightly parallel. Also, I don't think this... So I would say, like, when it comes to transformation, scaling is probably not the best idea, but it is okay to just move it, right? Because in that case, you're not scaling it, you're just repositioning it. With rotating, it's not okay because it also, like, unless you like turn it into a sketch and redraw it, and that's fine. But with rotating, it's not as okay because they still use anti-aliasing to adjust it. So that's the technical front of drawing on digital. That's a technical. One of many. Okay, so because the head is actually not a perfect sphere, it is more of an oval, not an oval, but a three-dimensional oval, whatever that is, the three-dimensional equivalent of an oval. And so when you draw the head, it's important to keep that in mind. Especially when you want to draw the hair and different things. The skull, at least, is not an oval. Okay. Let's make the jaw a bit thicker. Gotta give him a thick boy jaw, and then concave it in a bit before it goes up to where the ear is gonna be. And then we draw the neck off of it. Yeah. Cool. Looking good. Next, we are going to... So pretty much the entire face is just a bunch of shapes. A bunch of shapes put together. And so depending on how you draw it... Right now his head looks like a square, which isn't really what I drew before. So I'm going to move this down. And actually, I think it needs to be bigger. And so that's kind of a bummer, because that means I have to redraw it. Yeah. Okay. So if you have to redraw something, and you realize you have to redraw something, it's best to go ahead and just scale it and then keep it as a sketch. Scale it to how you think it should be. Keep it as a sketch and just trace over it. I do not think tracing is a bad thing necessarily. So yeah, we want them clean lines. Just confidently go over it. Tracing is not necessarily bad, especially if it's your own art. But if your lines aren't confident, people can tell. So you got to make sure that they're still confident line drawings. So I'm only doing this right now because the lines will be affected ever so slightly due to the transforming of the raster image. So. But it should be okay. If you want to be quick about it, I would say, don't do what I'm doing. Again, yeah. I would say ink over it after you've sketched everything out. So continue to sketch it out and then ink over it. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna delete what I just did. So I'm just gonna continue to paint, even though I rastered it. I need to just remember that this is not my final sketch. I need to raster it later. Yeah. I need to go over it later. That being said, I'm not a big fan of what's going on here. I like the angle of the other one better. Of the rough sketch. I like that angle better than I like this. So I'm gonna restart. Don't be afraid to completely destroy your drawings. That is something a lot of people are like, no, it took too much time, I got too far. But I'm like, I don't like it. Bye-bye. So don't be afraid to do that. I would say take a break, usually, in between times of destroying your drawings and starting anew. Like, take a small break. But I ain't got no time for that. I'm just gonna restart. So, I do think that this line here is really good. I like how confident. I like the shape of this head. So I'm gonna put the chin right here. Okay, I'm gonna think in 3D. I also think I was going too slow, generally, with the drawing. So you can also learn while you're drawing. Not a lot of people realize this, but even professional artists are learning while they draw. They learn how to draw faster, they learn how to do things, and sometimes it takes slower for them to learn how to draw faster. So they have to kind of think it through while they're drawing. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, because I'm still getting back into drawing. It's been a minute since I've drawn. And so having it zoomed out, I think, is actually a smart plan for drawing, because then I can get a more generalized image before I get into the hyper details, which is my biggest issue. I've ever since I was a kid, I always got into the hyper details, which was not so good, because it would take forever for me to finish art. And so I just need to not be too much of a perfectionist. Wrong button. Where's the M button? Monkey. There we go. M for monkey. The M will mirror it. And I do recommend mirroring your art a lot, because that way you can see how wonky it is on a digital. You can't really do that with physical drawings, which is one of the advantages of digital. You can do a lot more specifically. That being said, I think there are advantages of physical art, which is not limited to, you know, texture and just the feeling of things, but there's many different advantages. I think, for example, physical art tends to be more natural feeling in a lot of ways. I think physical art actually is quicker. A lot of people are like, oh no, you have a lot more tools, so digital art is quicker. No, I generally think you're not so worried about, like, if you mess up, you just erase it or throw it away and start again with physical art. With digital art, you're more like, oh, well, I can fix this. I can use the tools that I have to fix this, and you take much longer to try to fix it before you throw it away. That's kind of what I did right there. I took much more time to fix something that would have been a lot quicker just to throw away and start over again, which is what I eventually did anyway. So keep that in mind. Also, the Control-Z button is such a nice button, but it does make things slower. So I actually try to not use it so much, and I'm using it a lot right now because I'm just not confident in my lines right now. And so I just need to ignore the temptation to use it and just just go with what I get, you know. Ah, I did it again. Yeah. Okay, that's looking alright. Whenever you draw faces, men's faces and women's faces should be drawn differently, I think. Depending on, of course, the type of man or the woman. For example, there's a comic that I'm reading that's about a... there's a webcomic that I'm reading on Webtoons that's called Villainous with a Crush. It's a very cute webcomic about this girl who really likes this superhero, and so, but she also has superpowers, and she tries to confess to him, but every time she tries, she accidentally breaks the law and does something crazy. That might be... no, that's... And her grandmother had the same superpowers as her. And her grandmother is this really tough stuff, and comedically so. She has a very muscular body and is very like masculine looking, even though she's a grandmother. And that's kind of the joke. And her name is You Die. Like that was her villain name when she was a villain. The grandmother. You know, fix this a bit. And so you can have a more masculine looking face with female characters. So I'm not saying that that's completely against the rule set. But that being said, generally speaking, men's faces and women's faces look different in a vast majority of cases. And that's important to keep in mind when you're drawing. Men's faces tend to be much more angular and generally tend to be much more, unless of course they many people's faces are different. If you're a large man, because you've gained a lot of weight, of course your more angular jaws are going to be more chubby, right? You're going to have more round face, and that's true for pretty much anyone. But even still, I would say like the skull for a man is much bigger than for a woman in a general sense. Man, I made it slightly too small. Okay, so I gotta remember this is still a sketch. This is not my final. Sketch 2. I'm so used to using vector drawing because of my animation thing that I don't like the fact that whenever I scale things up and down, it's not as I don't like scaling things up and down in raster. I tend to forget, oh, this is finished, yay. But now it's just a sketch because I have to redraw it because I scaled it up, which just means I'm going to trace it, really. But yeah. So, whoop, I accidentally deleted the whole thing. So here, okay, if the other one reminded me of Titanic, music-wise, this song reminds me of The Incredibles. Okay, so here I can still get a little crazy just because it's now not a drawing. It became a sketch because I had to scale it. So I'm gonna trace over it later anyway. But yeah, generally speaking, women's faces, and there are exceptions to this, women's faces their skulls are smaller. That does not mean they are any less intelligent. To those sexists out there, no. You are not better just because you're a male. Number two, when it comes to angles, men's faces, especially if they're more muscular, tend to be much more chiseled, right? They have stronger jaw lines. They have, you know, sometimes you'll have like a strong cheekbone on a woman, like Cruella de Vil, for example, and that's perfectly fine. And actually, I think that Angelina Jolie, even though she has like stronger jawline for a woman, she's still very attractive. You know, that doesn't hide from the attractiveness of a woman. But generally, men tend to have stronger jawlines, not necessarily stronger cheekbones, but definitely stronger jawlines. And women's faces are also tend to be drawn softer, especially if they want to be drawn cuter. So if you want a woman to be very cute, when you draw them, it's better to have less lines. Like if you look at a Disney character, for example, this would be more Gaston-esque, right? It would be more. It would look more, you know, chiseled, much more drawn. But if you look at Belle in comparison to Gaston, or even the Beast, then whenever the Beast becomes a human, you can see that they draw so many lines, not only just like under the eyes, but like the cheekbones, the jaw, and everything. Rihanna says, "What's your favorite scene from Viable Draft that was written so far?" Ooh, that's a good question. Probably. I think that some of my favorite scenes are the ones that I didn't expect to have been written. So, for example, the dialogues, kind of the comedy bits, but also the dialogue between Vassa and Hana. Those are pretty good. Of course, I love the ones with Lucy. She's just hilarious. She's a good comic relief in that sense. I do think that, like, for example, one of my favorite scenes with Lucy would probably be like when they were looking for her. They go out of their way to look for her, and then she just they're like, "Oh, there she is," you know. So it's like he's just like, "Oh, wow, okay, I guess no one else can see her except me." So his discovery of that he's the only one capable of seeing her, I think that was pretty funny. I like the quips between Hana and Vassa. I like the character moments. A lot of the character moments. I don't know, I feel like I like the story writing process more than I like the story itself, if I'm being completely honest. I liked, for example, whenever we figured out, you know, that Vassa, his wife, died in childbirth. I thought that was a very good aha moment. That's really cool. I really like that because it's so sad. You know, it's like, this is really, really so sad, but so good. You know, that sort of thing. Let me make that lower. That sort of thing, just sad moment. Figuring out Vassa's wife died in childbirth was a good, kind of horrifying, but you know, because that's like my worst nightmare. Lord willing, gonna get married. That would be like, should my wife die in childbirth, that would be probably the saddest thing ever. And so that moment when me and everyone in the chat, I think Imagine Rejector was really involved in that, figured that out. I think that was really good. That was really fun. just to explore different ideas and thoughts. That was fun to write. That being said, I really enjoyed the scene where the courier, the one where it's a quiet scene because they just go into the post office and they get him and tackle him, and I just think that's funny. That was really funny. It is hard. Gotta stop using Control Z. Him just tackling the courier in a kind of quiet scene where it just happens was really funny. I like those sort of quieter scenes that are also kind of humorous. I always think those are fun. Can I make this lumpy? Oh no! I'm out of time. Shoot, I only have about 10 minutes before I have to go to work. And I gotta get ready. Yeah. I want to draw more. I'm in a good zone. Man, that's frustrating because I really do want to draw more. Man. Yeah, that's looking good. Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna look good, I think. I keep drawing even though I need to go. This is why I want to do this full time. Because I actually really enjoy drawing more than I enjoy teaching. That isn't to say I don't enjoy teaching, I love kids. But being able to draw and just talk and interact with y'all, just a lot of fun. Okay. See how much quicker I can get things done when I don't use Control Z? Control Z. Control Z. Yep. Looks kind of bulky. Do I want to go? No. I want to keep drawing. But it is time, unfortunately. Thank you again, everybody, for hopping in while I draw. It's been a lot of fun. I think this concept art is turning out really good. And I really do want to start drawing the the name, which is what they call it in Japan, but the rough sketch of the manga starting soon. That being said, I do need to get the concept art of the characters finished. Because otherwise, how am I supposed to know who my characters are, right? How am I supposed to know what they look like? So, I'm going to finish this part. How am I supposed to know their body proportions, how they're supposed to be drawn and different things? Unless I draw them out myself. So the collarbone actually goes all the way to the shoulder. Gotta make sure I draw it. It'll mix into the shoulder eventually. Anyway, I know it's a long process. I know it can be pretty frustrating. It says, "Yeah, we're just getting started." Honestly, these streams, I want them to be a lot longer. Instead of it just being 2 hours, I want to be able to draw for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours, you know. But we're getting there. We're getting there. It's a slow process. I think that eventually I'll be able to have like eventually I'll be able to, what time is it? I'll be able to earn enough money to where I can take on my job part-time instead of full-time as a teacher, and then be able to finish these much more quickly. And so what I'm doing right now is called cross-hatching, by the way. It's to depict shadows without and many manga use this technique. This in a combination of, they tend to go quick. They use this technique with a combination of what's it called? You know, those shading sheets that they use. Oh, I forget. All right, that's looking pretty good. Yeah. I forgot what those shading sheets are called. But basically, you know, with the oh, you know what I'm talking about, yeah. No. Okay, I'll show you. So basically, these dots that they have. The way that they traditionally do it is they have those sheets. They cut it out with, X-Acto knives, and then they stick it onto the drawing. So they have that. They use that in a combination of that in cross hatching. So that's kind of what I do. Whenever I actually like shade this, it's gonna be like a combination of the two. I think erasing this line is fine. Yeah. So this is called cross-hatching. You can cross-hatch even more by doing lines on top of lines. Typically done in darker areas. I try not to do too much cross-hatching. Try to only do like maybe 2 layers. Because if I do too much, that takes way too much time. But that being said, thank you for joining me on my stream for the concept art of Vassa. I am still working on him. I deleted half of what I was doing. Pretty wild. Thank you, Rihanna, for staying on for basically the whole stream for about 2 hours. Yeah. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for listening as I draw. I'm probably going to be working on this more tomorrow morning. I'm going to see if I can maybe do more in the afternoons. Maybe. Depends on how I'm feeling. So until next time, as you were saying, thanks again. And I'll see you guys later. Yeah. Ah! Here comes the Titanic Metal Gear Solid song. Yes. All right. Thanks again, everybody. I'll see you next stream. Yeah. If I do it at night, which I don't think I will, but if I do, it would be probably around 8 p.m. Which would be about 6 a.m. y'all's time. So that's really, or 5 a.m. y'all's time. That's really early for y'all. So I don't know if I'll do that, but you know, I guess it just depends. Just depends on how I'm feeling, because I do want to get more of this done. I don't know. I'm in the mood where I want to keep drawing, because I like this. This looks good. This is good, confident line art. Good. Just the way this looks is already, I think, much better than the original concept that I did. So I'm super excited. I would say likely what's going to happen, I'm just going to wake up in the morning and stream again. But I do want to draw more. So, you know, the sentiment is there. So let's get the watch time up, so that way I can maybe make some money off of the YouTube live streams. You know, that would be good. Invite your friends to watch with me, or just to lurk. That'd be cool. And yeah, and then maybe I can get enough hours to monetize it, and from there maybe I can do that. Let me show you, for example, my YouTube studio stuff real quick before I head out. So my channel, I am currently live. Where are we? YouTube studio. Yeah. And so, in order for me to make money on YouTube, we are currently at we have the eligibility, we have enough subscribers. I have 3 video uploads in the last 90 days, so the live streams count. But when it comes to watch hours, I only have 94 out of 3,000, which is better, but in the last 365 days. So watch hours is how long a person watches your video. And so if one person watches a video, then that would, like, let's say I have a live stream of 2 hours. If one person watches that, then that would be 2 hours added on to the watch hours. So if 3 people watch it, like whenever Caleb, Imagine, Rejector, and Rihanna all show up, then that would be 2 hours times 3, which is 6 hours added onto the public watch hours. So the more people who are watching, the better in regards to watch hours, which would allow me to earn money off of YouTube. That being said, I don't think that YouTube would be my primary income. I think that viable, the manga itself, whenever I get to my chapters here. Chapter 2, I'm going to be fundraising it. Chapter 1 is going to take a while because it's 75 pages. It's the equivalent of 3. Cool, if I can't make the stream, I could leave it running. That would be nice. With add to the watch hours. For sure, yeah, for sure, Rihanna. But yes, I think that likely the income that I make from Viable is whenever I actually finish the manga. And so that could be within a year, that could be 2 years, I don't know how long that'll take, but once it's done, I'll be uploading it, I'll be publishing it pretty much everywhere, and you guys can share it everywhere. And it will include the link to this fundraiser, which would hopefully get me $8,000 to fund the next chapter. So that's the idea, that's the plan. If it doesn't work out that way, I may just do it anyway. I may just do chapter 2 anyway, that's a secret, shush. But that all being said, hopefully I can do this full-time instead of having to work at an English teaching school. Because again, this $8,000 would fund my apartment for the whole year, which is pretty nice. That's a crazy amount of money for me, and that would be really cool and helpful. And I can spend most of my time just drawing and use the other time, you know, just working part-time as an English teacher. So Lord willing, and I'm able to get this off the ground, that would be very exciting for me. But you know, that's just me looking ahead. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, that's cool. So yeah, let's try to get the watch hours up so that way, if I don't make money off of Viable, I at least can maybe make a little bit of passive income from YouTube. So all that being said, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next live stream, which will be tomorrow at the same time. So it was 6 a.m. my time. So that would be around 3 p.m. Central Time in America. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna show the drawing that we made today. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hopping in. That's looking great. I'm excited to see how this turns out. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time, yeah? And I think the cleft chin, I think that worked out pretty well. But anyway, I have to go to work. So anyway, bye-bye everybody. Thanks for hopping in. I'll see you next time, yeah? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.